Happy Tuesday. It's November 19th. Welcome to ATI Pro Media. You've got Connor Bridgman alone today, so we can talk about whatever you want. But I think the headlines are going to be a little bit of escalation in Russia, right? Nuclear doctrine is changing slightly, and we're seeing U.S. missiles hit Russia for the first time. It is officially the 1,000th day of the Russia-Ukraine war. So amazing that we're going this far, right? It'll be the 3-year anniversary if it doesn't get resolved by then, right, in March. So interesting to see. Other one we have is Brazil, right? Talk of tariffs with between U.S. and China, and Brazil is really making sure they're ready to get their piece of the pie, and they're setting up agreements with China accordingly. Other thing we got a farm bill that's trying to get proposed. I'm not going to hold my breath for 2024, but we can talk about it. With that, we can talk about whatever you want. Remember, options expire, or DEES options expire Friday, so make sure that's on your list too. Elevator is going to be calling about HTA's basis contracts as well. If you want to talk about that, give us a call. With that, I'll do a quick quote up of the markets. We'll go from there. So here we go. DEES corn is about a quarter cent, almost unchanged, bouncing around. March corn is unchanged. Soybeans, we've got January soybeans down 6, trying to catch a bid, not there yet. March soybeans down 6 as well. Wheat, we've got wheat bouncing on the Russia news, right? It's so bullish when we talk about Russia, Ukraine escalation that we've got December wheat up 6, March wheat up 5. So jumping over to meats, we've got live cattle down ever so slightly. Feeders down as well. Looking at metals, I want to make sure we look at gold if we can do it. Look at that. Currencies down. I'm bouncing all around. We got the stock market pulling back slightly too in terms of the Russia escalation. T-bonds up. Here we go. Metals. We've got gold up. We've got silver up. And so, right, when we see that headlines of war, we're going to talk escalation. We're going to dive into those safe investments like gold. So with that, let's get in the show. We'll keep talking. I didn't have a whole lot of prep time, so we're just going to roll with it here. But I think the headline here is going to be the Russia-Ukraine escalation. That's the big one. Comments about nuclear retaliation by Putin is giving the wheat market a small boost, as well as reports that Ukraine use U.S. weapons to strike deeper into Russia. So Putin is threatening, he's changing his nuclear doctrine, right? He's kind of lowering the bar per se, making those, thinly veiled threats that if we see that escalation, nuclear weapons are on the table. And it's got markets a little concerned, right? And then on the same thing, gosh, I swear it was 2-3 days ago, we saw Biden pass that we could use long-range missiles. Ukraine is good to use U.S. weapons to do that. And within 2-3 days, they're using them, right? We saw U.S. missiles strike Russia. No casualties, a little bit of damage, but a big headline. And talk about further escalation in that area, okay? And so it's 1,000 days since we've seen that war. Talk once we see a new administration. Can we see things change, right? Are we going to see an end to it in the next 3 months? It doesn't feel like it right now. It feels like we're really ramping up, and we talk about it all the time. 3 years ago, we saw headlines like this. Wheat would be up 20. Guess what? Wheat's up about 6. So we've learned to digest those very well. Also, speaking of Ukraine wheat crop looks like it's getting a little bit bigger, right? Outside of today, we've seen some pretty good weakness in this wheat market. But we'll see where it goes. We'll see. It looks like the escalation, if we're within 60 days of a peaceful resolution, it doesn't feel like it today. It feels like more like we're escalating that. And so with that, other news that we saw is Brazil said that they would announce agreements with China. So I saw this pop up across the board, and I first thought was that Brazil's moving in, right? If they're making sure they get their cut of the pie, if something happens, if there's a tariff where China doesn't want to buy U.S. soybeans, Brazil's going to be ready to make the move. And so this deal specifically was more related to meats, right? Nothing was specific. Here, I'll read it to you. Brazil Ag Minister Carlos Favaro said on Monday that farm agreements with China would be announced on Wednesday ahead of meetings with Chinese president. He told media last week that they would seize the opportunity if Trump clashes with China, as he did in his first term, effectively putting U.S. exporters on notice. So the main focus, right? No main rhetoric in terms of soybeans, anything like that. It's really more related to cattle, right? Really, China and Brazil want to shore up that relationship to make sure they continue to give that avenue for cattle, for beef. And so, but I got to say, it definitely lays the framework for if we see soybeans, anything like that, that relationship, they're going to make sure that avenue's open, right? Brazil, uh, if they're smelling blood in the water, they want to take advantage of any type of China-U.S. trade spat. They want to make sure that China knows that they're ready. And so, it's not. I guess it's not surprising, right? If you were Brazil, you'd probably be doing the same thing and just making sure that you're ready. But it's interesting to see it right before, right, where it's all still rumor mill in terms of tariffs, in terms of what we're going to see. And so we'll see where we go with that. And so with that, right, we've got soybeans. We got to talk about price action a little bit. I was going to pull up a chart, but I didn't have time. Is yesterday, the soybeans had a big run up at the end of the day, right? It felt nice. It was a decently volatile. I was about to say big volatility. Big volatility, maybe if we look on the past 30 days, but in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't too big a move, but a good jump up at the end of the day. So we'll take it. We're giving some of it back today, but still good to see that price action, and I think we'll take it. Right, continue. We need to make sure we're looking at CONEB release planning progress. Guess what? They're still making good progress. Something like 76% planted, I believe. Mato Grosso, their big region, 98% planted. And so, the planning progress is moving along perfectly. The GFS forecast is very non-threatening right now. That could change. We could see some type of weather scare. But right now, production issues in Brazil, it feels a little muted, right? It doesn't feel like it's a big story, but we'll see where it goes with that. And so with that, if you got any questions, drop a question, drop a comment. We could talk about anything you want. One thing I think we got to mention, Rick popped it across, is that we had a farm bill proposed. Okay, so lame duck farm bill, we saw it released from Democrat Stabenow, Ag Committee Chairwoman Debbie Stabenow, Democrat from Michigan, released the text of her draft of the farm bill on Monday, with just weeks remaining in this Congress and more than 5 months after releasing a detailed summary of the proposal. So immediate reaction from the other side of the aisle was no interest in it. I got to read this top Republican on Senate Ag, John Boozman of Arkansas. Right, here's what his comments were. If you want to give an idea of if this thing will pass, he says, an 11th hour partisan proposal released 415 days after the expiration of the current farm bill is insulting. America's farmers deserve better. So it's all fine and dandy that we got released some text, but the odds this passes, right, when we look at the end of just weeks remaining in Congress, with a whole lot of other things that they're going to have on their docket, the odds that this thing gets passed, I'm going to call it slim to none. Right, I've been surprised before, but so I guess it's good to see that we're trying to get something through. What she proposed, it wasn't anything dramatic. We saw, for us in the farm gate, we saw an increase in reference prices, an increase in that PLC coverage program, a little bit changes. And so we'll take it. But again, we're raising that reference price on corn. I think it's something like 360 and we're going to 380. Okay. So still, when we talk ARC coverage, PLC, we can debate which one we want to go with. But at the end of the day, if we get a payment on either one of those programs, the farm economy is in a very bad shape. So other than that, I didn't see any big changes. And then I think probably with the current administration, I don't think we're going to get any big headwinds with the farm bill. I think, in my opinion, we just want it to pass, right? We need a farm bill in place. We want something that says, here's the framework for the next 4 years, and we can move on, right? We're a year behind. Let's get something passed in 2025, and I think we will. So with that, right, rambling over, let's jump. I don't think we have any questions. Let's talk a little premium. We had Tommy do a nice premium, just talking about go ahead and pop it up. Yeah, commodities were up big today, talking about that move, how you could be squared away breaking that down and really breaking down the potential for volatility in the next 60 days, 120 days. It's going to be significant, right? New administration, the biggest soybean crop right now, the biggest soybean crop ever is getting grown in South America, right? So we have the potential for production issues. We've got the geopolitical risks that are ever present. So, a lot of times when we're talking commodities, when we're talking about marketing, when you bet against volatility, it usually doesn't pay off, right? We have some years that are going to be low volatility, but generally speaking, this market's going to move. And I think you should plan for it in the next 60 days. Tommy did a good job of breaking that down. So, other premium, I think we got some good topics loaded up for this week. Just trying to do, making sure you're squared away on the old crop is the focus, making sure we've got the new crop. We've got a plan on the new crop going from there. I think that's going to be my focus on a few premium videos this week. So with that, I don't have any other topics, right? The big one's going to be Russia, where this market's moving. And so we'll go ahead and wrap up the show. Everyone have a great day. We're going to have a great rest of the week. We'll see what this does. And I'm going to find the button and end it. Everyone have a good one.